Dear guests, dear participants, it's my pleasure to introduce you our next speaker, Dr. Ruben Elamiryan. He's currently the chair of the Department of World Politics and International Relations, Russian-Armenian University of Armenia. And the topic he's going to present is the return of geopolitics. So the floor is yours, Dr. Elamiryan.
Dear colleagues, dear friends, it's my great pleasure to present my research on the return of geopolitics, Eastern Partnership countries between the European Union and China. Before going to the presentation, I would like to thank the organizers for this great event. A brief overview of what I'm going to talk about during the upcoming 10 to 12 minutes. So it's an introduction, which is going to be about EAP countries and rising great power competition in the region. I'm going to present the EU interests in the region, China and the region, try to compare economic cooperation of the EU and China with the EAP region, as well as I'm going to very briefly stop on the US and Russia impact on EU and China collaboration with the region and present some conclusions. So as you can see on this map, this is the EAP region, which comprises Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, and also Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan in the South Caucasus. As you can see, the region is sandwiched between major powers, which are Russia, EU, and also there are rising US and Chinese interests in the region. And also there is also Turkey and other Middle Eastern powers. So the region is rather complex. Talking about the Eastern Partnership program, it was presented by Poland with active Sweden participation in 2008, and it received operational momentum in 2009. As I have told, it involves 6 Eastern European countries and 3 countries in the South Caucasus, 6 in total: Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Georgia, Moldova, and Ukraine. And EAP consists of the 4 main pillars. It's trade, comprehensive institution building program, supporting mobility of citizens and visa liberalization, and also energy security. After 2013, when Armenia and Ukraine, we can say, refused to sign an association agreement with the EU, there was a feeling that the EU kind of lost its interest toward the program. However, later on in November 2017, the EU introduced the EU Infrastructure Investment Plan. And later on, it came up with connecting Europe and Asia, building blocks for an EU strategy, which was, I mean, we can claim probably that it was designed to get closer to China in terms of geography, and to get to Chinese roots outside of the EU. Thus, summarizing this part, we can say that the EAP serves the following EU interests. So it's development of the EU normative power, diversification of energy import, political economic stability in the neighborhood. There are also geostrategic motives, which are to decrease the role of Russia in the region, which is in the EU's close neighborhood, better understanding of Russia's motives and capacities to promote these motives, and also, as it was told, control of strategic ground routes from west to east. And in this framework, we can also put kind of collaboration with China. Whenever it comes to China and Belt and Road Initiative, I'm not going to dive into details, but I would simply say that it, as we know, started in 2013. And here you can see the official BRI map presented by official Beijing. And here we can see that EAP countries are not involved in these direct BRI routes. However, there are several projects which are claimed to be part of the BRI. So it's Batumi Bypass Road Project, it's Trans-Anatolian Natural Gas Pipeline Project, Nenskra Hydropower Plant. Interestingly, China is also constructing the second largest Chinese diplomatic mission in the former Soviet Union in Armenia. And in 2018, China replaced Russia as Ukraine's biggest trading partner. So we can conclude that at the moment, the region is not presenting kind of strategic interest for China, but Chinese interest and presence in the region is rising. On this slide, you can see economic cooperation. On this side and the upcoming several slides, you will see economic cooperation between EU and the region, and then China and the region. So you see here that in export from the regional countries to the EU, the share of the EU is rather large. So it's starting from, let's say, 15% and going up to 65% in case of several countries. The same picture we have for import, so export from the EU to the regional countries. And the same we can say about EU foreign direct investments into the region. Whenever we are speaking about Chinese trade with the region, the picture is rather different. We see that the most export has Georgia, which is 6.5%. So comparing to the EU, we can say it's about nothing. The same about import dynamics and the same about FDIs. But what is interesting in case of China, during all those, on all those three slides, we can see that there is rising dynamics. In case of China economic cooperation with the region. Very briefly, if we are doing good on time, I want to stop on US and Russia impact on EU and China collaboration with the region. Today, we witness rising great power competition globally. And we know on one hand, there is a strategic alliance, we can say strategic alliance between the US and EU. On the other hand, there is a rising strategic alliance between Russia and China, and most probably the rising great power competition will impact also the regional dynamics. So if we are putting the question if kind of culture of collaboration or collaborative attitude can develop in the region between EU and China, most probably the rising great power competition might affect this potential. And jumping to the conclusions, there is strategic, we can see from this presentation that there is strategic mutual interest between the EU and EAP countries, while China and EAP collaboration and the BRI involvement in the region is experiencing a steady rise. Both for the EU and China, these interests include, but are not limited to trade, access to communication routes, including transportation and movement of goods, energy resources, as well as strategic stability in the neighborhood. Hence, those interests have full potential to become either a bone of contention or a platform for positive collaboration. However, giving the understanding of the necessity in strategic stability in their neighborhood and along strategic land routes, the EU and China should strive for cooperative coexistence in the region. On the other hand, competition is an inalienable part of human and state nature. Hence, the importance of positive, not conflictual, competition should be emphasized, which aims not at destruction and establishment of spheres of influence, but fair competition, mutual respect, and accountability for the future of regional and as a consequence of global security environment. From this perspective, the development of the cooperative coexistence agenda might bring together, for instance, the EU's Connecting Europe and Asia building blocks for an EU strategy and BRI via modernized indicative trans-European transport network investment action plan and allowing the EAP countries to serve as a hub for positive collaboration. Finally, the small and medium-sized countries in the region should also accept their responsibility in the development of cooperative collaboration by developing an accountable, clear, peaceful, and cooperation-oriented agenda, avoiding the temptation to become a source of threat for any of the actors involved. I'm going to stop here. Thank you for your attention, and it would be my great pleasure to take your questions. Thank you.
We have the question, please. The floor is yours. Introduce yourself and then your question.
Parzyan, Yerevan State University. My question is to Ruben and Elamiryan. Does there any special plan or strategy plan exist for European Union towards China? Because you talked many things, important things about the let's say competition or cooperation, and name it yourself, in the Eastern Partnership area. But it is important to understand what's the general plan of the European Union towards China is. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Probably I will go through Dr. Geran and then Gurilo, yes, and then I can ask my question. So again, thank you again for the question. So look, the thing is that on one hand, there is this general plan. For instance, late December 2020, I guess this is the correct name, European Investment Plan between the EU and China was signed. And it's about cooperation. On the other hand, the projects on connectivity, which I presented, they also can be both on cooperation and competition. And we can say that they are kind of general plans. And the thing is how they are going to be developed. For instance, regarding the European Investment Plan, so it was signed, and I mean, pretty much everyone was happy in Europe and China. But these days, it seems that it got stuck because of some geopolitical reality. Yeah, this is the thing. Because of so on one hand, we see a rising great power competition, especially between the US and China. That's why I mentioned the role of the US. Most probably is going to impact. This is the thing. But in general, yes, there is this plan. The thing is how it's going to develop.
Dear colleagues, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Aram Abajyan, researcher at National Academy of Sciences of Armenia, who will talk about Shanghai Cooperation Organization as a platform for promoting the agenda of China's Belt and Road Initiative. Dr. Aram Abajyan, please, the floor is yours.
So the title of my speech is Shanghai Cooperation Organization as a platform for promoting the agenda of China's Belt and Road Initiative. The modern system of international relations passes through a stage of profound transformation and evolutionary development. The rapid development of modern technologies in areas of communications, infrastructures, transport, and information delivery is creating a cohesive global community of states. In 21st century, China's dramatic economic rise and the gradual move to a multipolar world system have impacted on the country's special place in international politics. Former China's President Hu Jintao and Prime Minister Wen Jiabao used the phrase peaceful rise and peaceful development, making clear that the country would not be a global threat, but would be a constructive member of international community. Since then, academic debates about China's international role emerged in the West, focusing on the core international relations, theories of realism and liberal institutionalism. If the first school views Beijing's nationalist foreign policy agenda as a global threat, the second one considers China as transitioning to market democracy within global interdependence. The debate about China's rise entered a new phase, especially in 2013 when One Belt, One Road initiative was launched. The country began marching west strategy, and on September, President Xi Jinping, giving speech at Kazakhstan's Nazarbayev University, declared about ancient Silk Road that it was full of new vitality with rapid development of Chinese relations with Asian and European countries. He suggested China and the Eurasian partners jointly build a new Silk Road economic belt, and later he continued his speech at the People's Representative Council of Indonesia by proposing a 21st century maritime Silk Road initiatives. These two programs were later involved into Belt and Road Initiative, creating bilateral and multilateral cooperative mechanism. While some Western scholars prefer the term One Belt, One Road instead of Belt and Road, Beijing persists on the second in order to indicate that the initiative is not only Chinese one, but it is also open for other international players. Through this extremely ambitious initiative, Beijing is strengthening its connectivity with the world, trying to become #1 economic superpower until 2050. It is a huge economic mega project with the purpose of building a trade and infrastructure network connecting Asia with Europe and Africa along the ancient trade routes. The Silk Road economic belt focuses on bringing together China, Central Asia, Russia, and Europe, linking China with the Persian Gulf and the Mediterranean Sea through Central Asia and West Asia, also connecting China with Southeast Asia, South Asia, and Indian Ocean. It is a long-term vision for the infrastructural development, connectivity, and economic cooperation of Eurasia, which includes 6 development corridors, namely New Eurasian Land Bridge Economic Corridor, China, Mongolia, Russia Economic Corridor, China, Central Asia, West Asia Economic Corridor, China, Indochina Peninsula Economic Corridor, Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar Economic Corridor, and China, Pakistan Economic Corridor. The 21st century maritime Silk Road is intended to go from China's coast to Europe through the South China Sea and the Indian Ocean in one direction, and from China's coast through the South China Sea to the South Pacific in the other. In this map, red lines are the mentioned 6 economic belts. The Silk Road economic belt is an extensive project to build a single Eurasian economic and trade space and transcontinental transport corridor. The aim of the program is to maximally enlarge international economic and trade cooperation. Indeed, financial integration and cooperation is an essential underpinning for the initiative. Therefore, various banks, funds, and also financial institutions are heavily investing in this project. And for example, China set up a $40 billion Silk Road fund that experts believe will open for investment in near future. The main focus will be on the construction of roads, railways, ports, and airports across Central Asia and South Asia. However, to fully fund the total BRI project volume of estimated 4 to 8 trillion $, different funding channels such as BRI bonds, private capital investment, public-private partnership, and state-owned enterprise investment will be crucial for the final success. And in 2015, China announced the implementation plan for the vision and actions on jointly building Silk Road economic belt and 21st century maritime Silk Road. In terms of geographic calculations, the region of Central Asia is a key destination for the agenda of Belt and Road Initiative. On the other hand, most founding members of another Chinese-initiated Shanghai Cooperation Organization are located in Central Asia. Therefore, these two China proposed projects are closely linked together. As most of the SCO states are located along the ancient Silk Road, it provides a geographic advantage for them to actively participate in the initiative. The spirit and ideological basis of the two cooperation frameworks are in line with each other too. The spirit of BRI emphasizes equality, solidarity, mutual trust, benefit, and cooperation to find win-win solutions. These characteristics are ideally matched with the Shanghai spirit of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. The two structures are sharing common features, principles, goals, so they are historically linked both geographically and ideologically, and they share reciprocal approaches. China's foreign policy in Central Asia is mainly conditioned by its economic interests, especially its desire to secure much needed energy security and the use of transit potential of the region. In Central Asia, Chinese initiated Shanghai Cooperation Organization as a strong influential platform helped China to build up unprecedentedly intense ties with local states, creating natural conditions to play an active and constructive role in the region. The SCO is a Eurasian political, economic, and security alliance formed in June 2001. It has 8 member states, 4 observer states, and 6 dialogue partners. And in terms of geographic area and vast population, it makes the organization the largest in the world and one of the most powerful. In the Great Eurasian region, the SCO is one of the most outstanding examples of new hybrid or mixed model of interstate regional partnership. During UFA summit in 2015, the SCO development strategy until 2025 was adopted for expanding trade, economic, and investment ties. SCO is reaching a qualitatively new level, and by 2025, the SCO will strengthen its position in the global and regional architecture by actively working in support of building a polycentric democratic system of international relations. The organization is steadily moving towards becoming the leading multilateral platform in vast Eurasian landmass for the integrated discussion of issues related to the joint promotion of regional security and stability and the implementation of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. The continued adherence to the principles of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's Shanghai spirit is enhancing the image of SCO as one of the effective, influential, and responsible participant of modern multilateral diplomacy. One of the most important results of SCO was the accession of India and Pakistan as full-fledged members in 2017. By bringing together 4 nuclear powers, India, China, Russia, and Pakistan, the SCO format has become an additional supporting element of the system for maintaining global strategic stability. It has become a cornerstone of the Eurasian continent, a very powerful transcontinental structure. At the same time, China's Belt and Road Initiative is one of the most leading economic projects in contemporary world. It is also becoming clear how effective Chinese foreign policymakers are implementing the huge potential of SCO as a key tool for driving forward BRI agenda. Put shortly, the SCO serves as a multilateral platform and cooperative structure for Beijing to develop and upgrade infrastructure, strengthen China's bilateral ties in the region, improve institutions, and drive much-needed economic development. The specific projects under BRI and the existing economic cooperation structure of SCO are truly complementing each other, and the SCO is an effective platform for cooperation to strengthen multilateralism, the rule of international law, the UN Charter, and to further ensure equal, mutual, comprehensive, and reliable security and also sustainable economic development. Indeed, most of SCO members view the BRI favorably. SCO members have shown their firm support to the initiative. For instance, China and Russia issued a joint statement on May 2015 outlining the main approaches to linking the Silk Road Economic Belt and the Eurasian Economic Union projects. Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and other Central Asian countries also welcome BRI project, participating in several large infrastructure development projects. Also, Pakistan remains the major supporter of BRI, and China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is a flagship project under this initiative. India was the only SCO member not to support BRI, and it maintained that China-Pakistan Economic Corridor runs through Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir territory, so it is unacceptable for India to participate in the project. However, despite the existing disputes, India will presumably show economic pragmatism and increase trade with its neighbors for promoting regional integration. And we can conclude that China's usage of SCO has resulted in many of its foreign policy goals being reached, or at least had significant progress. There was a time when the regional security was at first place of Chinese foreign policy agenda, but through border forces reductions and focus on threats such as terrorism, regional stability has improved a lot. Now economic development has taken priority in the region, especially with the BRI. A number of major joint projects have already been completed in SCO member states under the framework of BRI, including highways, railways, tunnels, electric power plants, which improve cross-border logistics and promote trade. During joint implementation of BRI, it became clear that the full-scale development of SCO plays an important role as a mechanism in advancing business cooperation. And the joint declaration also calls China and Russia work together primarily on the SCO platform. The trends of Chinese-Russian growing strategic relations and economic cooperation in the framework of SCO and Silk Road Economic Belt are driving forward Eurasian continent in 21st century. The realization of Silk Road Economic Belt on the base of SCO is becoming quite optimal, and the combination of these two mechanisms is going to create a new model of economic integration. And for Chinese foreign policy goals, the effectiveness of SCO regarding BRI agenda is as such a subject for academic debate, but the efforts and already made progress cannot be ignored. So the role of SCO is absolutely successful. Thank you very much.